And hello there, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening. It is the DRUG here, and we are back for more of the Mermaid of Zennor. Uh, a nice, wonderful little story-based game, so let's continue. I have dinner when I get home, but it's chicken and mushroom pie, and I don't like mushrooms, so I only pick at it. Yeah, I can't blame you there, because unless you're Mario or Luigi, you shouldn't be eating mushrooms. My mother asked me if I will please eat a bit more, but it sounds more like she's begging than asking, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. I do my best to eat, but the mushrooms look very thin and gray and anemic, and when I put them in my mouth, I gag. My mother sighs and shakes her head and says, "Oh, Lucille, what is it to be done with you?" And I tell her that I don't know. "You're getting so skinny," my mother says. "If you don't eat, we'll have the child protecting services around. They'll think we're abusing you." I do eat. I had a iced finger this morning, and I had some sandwiches at lunch. And I ate 4 ginger nuts with Miss Kay. "Well, so as long as you're eating something," my mother says, but she sounds doubtful. I say that I am, and then I push my chicken and mushroom pie away and ask if I can be excused. My mother looks tired, and I don't think she likes talking to me, so she says yes. Dad doesn't say anything. He doesn't even look at me. I rise from the table and scrap my uneaten food into the bin, and then I go upstairs to my bedroom. I'm supposed to read a chapter of A Christmas Carol for my English homework, but I am angry at Miss Lambert because she gave me a D on my homework, and I don't want to read A Christmas Carol because it's boring, so I don't. Well, I like A Christmas Carol, so fuck you. I take out my old marker pens instead, and I try to draw. I like drawing, and I find it relaxing, but I don't feel very relaxed right now. I can't stop thinking about Jessie. If I only had Jessie's ghost, then where can I find a woman like that? Yes, we just sang, and it was horrifying. It has been more than a week since she last called me, and I can't stop worrying about him. My head is so filled up with thoughts about Jessie, it feels like it will explode. That is why I go into his room. I push his bedroom door open slowly, trying not to make any noise. I don't know why I care so much. I know Jessie is not in there, so why should I worry about disturbing him? But I worry all the same. It's been a while since I came into Jessie's room. It looks different than I remember. When Jessie and me were younger, we used to spend a lot of time in his room. I would sit on the edge of his bed, and he'd tell me silly jokes, or he would read me bits from his favorite Discord books, or he would play the guitar. So is he Jeff Jarrett, the honky-tonk man, or New Jack in another life? Jesse plays the guitar because he is talented. Unlike me, I couldn't play the guitar if I wanted to. I am too clumsy. That's when you hit people in the head with it. Bonk. I don't really want to play the guitar, though. I am not interested in it. It's just a block of wood. I was more interested in the guitar when it was in Jesse's hands. I liked sitting on his bed by Jesse's side when he held his guitar, a scuffed old instrument he bought from a second-hand shop in St. Elves, and played. I don't really remember the songs he played, but I remember feeling very safe and warm and relaxed with him. It was a bit like being in Mrs. K's office, but better. Jesse was very firm, strong hands. He held the guitar tightly and never dropped it. He sometimes paused when he was playing and laughed, telling me he hadn't made a mistake. But he was wrong because he never makes mistakes. I think Jesse is perfect. That is why I love him. I really do love him, so why? Jesse, I say his name softly, though I'm not sure why, because I know he can't hear me, as I trail my fingers against the headboard of his bed where we used to sit. His room isn't the same as it used to be because Jesse doesn't sleep in this bed anymore, and he doesn't keep his clothes, and his cupboards all the drawers are empty. His guitar is gone, some of his books are missing from the shelves, and the posters have been removed from the walls. His bed doesn't even have any covers on it. There is just a mattress left, which feels hard and uncomfortable. He took everything to university. He took everything that is important to him, but he left me behind. Ain't I more important than his guitar, his posters, and his sheets? Well, you're not well, you're a human being, so he can't exactly take you to university, or else that would be a little bit of a problem. But I am bigger than a guitar and some posters and his bed covers, and I am heavier and it would be harder to bring me to London with him on the train. There are lots of logistical issues with my idea. It isn't practical. Well, at least she knows it. But he could have tried. Hey. Now, there are white rectangles on the walls where his posters were, and gaps in his bookcase where his favorite Discworld books were, and a pain in my heart where my big brother was. Why did he have to leave me when he was a perfectly nice bedroom here? It is much nicer than mine. Because he wants to get an education, biatch. Sorry, I just had to say that. I just like saying that word, biatch. I walk towards his wardrobe. My footsteps sound too loud and they hurt my ears. I reach out and take hold of the handle of his wardrobe door. I turn it, although I already know what will be inside and what I'm expecting, really. Some of Jesse's clothes are still inside his wardrobe. His old white school shirts, which he wore when he went to St. O's school, are hanging like ghosts. Ooh. So are his old plain black school trousers, a few sweaters, and a pair of trousers he bought from a charity shop in St. Elves that have always been too big for him. The rest of Jesse's clothes, his nice leather jacket that smells of pine, and his t-shirts with faded band logos, and his Converse trainers are gone. He took everything else and left me with nothing. He even took the photographs he used to have tacked on his wardrobe doors of him with his guitar and me holding his hand, and the pair of us on a trip to an old castle back when Dad and Mom still took us on trips. They haven't in a while. What do I have to do to remember Jesse with now? The old cast-off clothes he doesn't want, and leftover blue tracks on his wardrobe door where our faces used to be. Mrs. K told me I should be optimistic. She said I should focus on what I do have, rather than what I don't have. That is easy for her to say. She has a husband and a son who loves her, but I have nothing. Being in Jesse's room always used to comfort me, but now it reminds me of what I don't have. And we got another trophy. Nobody to talk to. It isn't fair, I say, when I take one of Jesse's old school shorts from the hanger and embrace it. I bury my nose in his shirt and smell it, but it doesn't smell like Jesse. It smells like the inside of his wardrobe. My eyes are starting to sting. I'm crying. I nuzzle my face against Jesse's shirt, which doesn't smell of him, and pretend that I am hugging my brother and he is hugging me back and everything is all right. It doesn't cheer me up. I am not good at telling lies, especially not to myself. Why did you leave me? I say, my voice muffled by the fabric of the shirt. Why? The shirt does not answer, of course, because it is a shirt. But even if it did, I know what it would say. He had to leave, the shirt would say, because he got accepted to a good university in London. Aren't you happy for me? For some reason, the shirt sounds a lot like Mrs. K. She is also very sensible. Hold on. I'm back. Sorry about that. Alright, back to reading. I'm happy for him, I mumble, my cheeks red and my face splotched with tears, but I wish I could have gone with him. You can't because you haven't finished secondary school yet, the shirt explains kindly. If you want to stay with your brother, you need to get older. But how can I get older, I ask. You need to wait like everybody else, the shirt says. But I've waited too long already. I say it feels like he's been gone forever. It's unbearable. And there's so much I can't eat, and I can't sleep, and I can't live. You need to do your best, the shirt says. That's all you can do. But how can I? But how can I do what? That. What should I do, I ask. I can't tell you that because I'm only a shirt, the shirt says, and it's quite right, too. I wipe my nose on the shirt, staining it with a trail of green snot, and then couple it in a ball and throw it on the floor. You're not very helpful, I say, though. I know I'm being ridiculous. You're nothing like my brother. I thought Jesse cared about me more than anybody or anything else. But he took his guitar to the university with him, and that's not even real. Well, it is real because it's a solid object. You can hold it in your hands. But it isn't real at the same time because it doesn't have thoughts or feelings or a heart that can be broken. It isn't real in the same way that I am real. Sometimes I think maybe I'm not real, and sometimes I think maybe everybody else is not real. Because of how can I know they are not figments of my imagination? But I know Jesse is real. He has to be, or my word would have no meaning. He has to be, but it has been so long since I last saw or heard him. How do I know if he has not been stabbed or shot or poisoned or... Oh, I say, and I blink because I hear something. The phone in the kitchen is ringing. It could be Jesse. I can't sit here feeling sorry for myself if I need to answer as soon as possible. This is important. I leave Jesse's room, slamming the door behind me, and run down the stairs. I take them two at a time and I almost slip and fall on the bottommost step. I pick up the old plastic phone, which is laying in its cradle next to a bowl of fake flowers. Hello, I say, and I press the phone to my ear. There is a pause, and then... Lucia, says a very familiar voice on the other end of the line. Lucia, is that you? My grip tightens around the plastic case of the telephone so tightly my knuckles turn white. I know who that voice belongs to. I think about this voice 100, no 1,000 of times every single day because it belongs to the one person I love more than anybody in the world. And everything he says sounds sweet and warm and gentle. It's Jesse. Jesse, I say. I think my voice sounds higher than usual. I missed you. Hey, Lucille, Jesse says. I can tell he's laughing. I missed you, too. It feels like it's been a long time. Yes, I say, Stephanie, although I'm glad Jesse has called me, I'm a little bit annoyed that it took so long. I don't want to be angry with my brother because I love him, and it isn't nice being angry with the person you love, but Miss Kay is always asking me how I feel, and she isn't even related to me. Jesse is my brother, and even if he's only a half-brother, so he must care about me at least 50% more than Miss Kay does, and he must want to know how I feel. I don't want to keep this to myself. All the upset and resentment that has been building up inside me for the last weeks comes rushing to the surface. It is impossible to keep in. It's been a long time, I told Jesse, grabbing the phone tighter, because you didn't call me when you said you would. I've been waiting for over a week. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Lucia, Jesse said. I've been so busy. I meant to call you, really, but I had so much work to do. Jesse sounds guilty. Another part of me wants me to stay mad at him. Another part of me wants to tell him that it's all in the past, and I would forgive him for anything because I love him. Is university difficult? It isn't all fun and games, Jesse says, but I'm coping, I guess. I probably shouldn't wait until the last minute to finish my assignments, though. Waiting until the last minute is bad, but I do that too, and then I get into trouble. You having a hard time, Lucille? Jesse asks, in his voice so gentle that my heart feels like it's melting. It isn't too hard, I tell him, because I don't want him to worry about me. You're probably having a harder time. What is London like? Big, Jesse says, and then he laughs again. Jesse isn't like Dad, who's stony and silent, and he isn't like Mother, who's quiet and retiring. Jesse is loud, but not in an annoying way like Asheen. He's almost always smiling, and he brings laughter with him wherever he goes. The house has felt a lot quieter and sadder and lonelier without him. You haven't got lost in London, have you? I ask him seriously. Once or twice, Jesse says, but I think he is lying. I can particularly hear him squirming on the other end of the phone or line. Once or twice I say, "Are you sure that's all?" "Ouch, you're not letting me catch a break, are you, Lil? Do you want to hear about my failures that badly?" "No," I tell him. "I just want to know if you've been alright." "Oh, so that's it," Jesse asks. "That's it," I tell him. "And here I was thinking you were trying to take a dig at me. I should have known better. You never do anything so callous." "So, have you gotten lost?" I ask. "Oh, all the time in the beginning. Everybody says the underground is easy to navigate, but there's nothing like that in Cornwall, so I got a bit confused. I was late to my lectures on more than one occasion," Jesse confessed. "I hope you didn't get into trouble." "People are always late to uni lectures," Jesse says. "I think it's how uni is. It isn't all at all like school." "Don't you get told off?" "Not really. I'd only be in trouble if I failed to hand any of my papers. Other than that, it seems the professors don't care that much." "Wow," I say, and I say, "I wish Miss Lambert didn't care." "Miss Lambert, is she still working in St. Elves?" Jesse asks. "Yes, she is, and I don't think she likes me very much. She's always picking on me. She gave me a D in my English homework because I didn't write about D.H. Lawrence. But that isn't my fault. He's boring." "Don't pay any attention to her. She's a silly old bat." "She says I should act more like you," I tell Jesse, "but that's impossible. There's only one of you. And a good thing, too. You might be my younger sister, but sometimes I think you're more responsible than I am." Jesse says, "You have a better sense of direction, at least. I bet you wouldn't get, I bet you get along just fine in London." "Do you really think so?" "Sure, the underground would be easy for you. Sometimes I wish I had you here with me to show me around." What? I say, my face turns red. "I could always come and stay with you for a bit, if you wouldn't mind." "That might be a good idea. I'd love to show you around. I think you're going to like St. Paul's Cathedral." "I like to go anywhere with you." "Great, then why don't we arrange it sometime? It'd be fun," Jesse says. "I feel sorry for you. This is stuck back in Zennor. I know it's a nice place and sometimes I miss it, but there's so much more to do when you're in London." "Werewolves of London." "I know, I looked it up online in IT class," I say. I don't tell Jesse that I was researching London when I had been working on my spreadsheet because I want to live with him someday and I'd be doing everything I can to accumulate myself with England's capital. I think that might sound a bit desperate. "You think?" Jesse whistles. "I see you've been doing your homework then. Good girl." "If you're still having trouble getting around, I can help navigate," I say. "I don't want a repeat of what happened in Godberry Point." "Godberry Point?" Jesse asks. "We went there a while ago, you and me," I reminded him. "We got lost and we nearly missed the last bus back, and you were very worried." "Oh, yes, now I remember. That was years ago, back when I still collected fossils." "You were 14, I tell him, and I was 8. You know what? I think you're right," Jesse says. "So you remember that trip, don't you?" "I remember all the times I spent with you," I say proudly. "All the memories we made together over the years are precious to me, and I won't let them go. I forget my French vocabulary the moment it enters my head. And I forget which days I have PE. And sometimes I even forget my own birthday. But I don't forget anything related to Jesse." "That's a little creepy." "Says you to bring up all my weakest moments." You can get, okay, get up. Get off the water hose again. I'll be back. Hey, kitty. And that's done for Eric. Oh. Jesse says, and he laughs. "I almost forgot it myself. I can't slip up when you're around." It was the right area, Sean, because you didn't miss the last bus home after all, even though you were starting to worry. "Well, yeah, anybody would worry. I'm your older brother, Lucille, and it's my job to take care of you." "I like it when you take care of me," I told Jesse, my voice a little quieter than usual. Jesse smiles. I can't hear Jesse smile, obviously, because he's in London and I'm in Zennor, and there are 307.6 miles between us, which equates to around 6 hours by car. I looked it up online, but I can always tell when he's smiling. I could tell because I love my brother, and I know these things about him. Nobody understands Jesse better than I do. Not Mom or Dad, and certainly not A. That's why I'm the only one who's allowed to be in love with him. Oh, that's not good. I don't know if I'm the best at looking after others, I'm afraid, Jesse says. I tried, but I wasn't the coolest, reliable older brother I wanted to be. I think you're very cool, I tell him. Well, thanks. I think you're a sweetheart, too. My heart pounds inside my chest and my stomach coils itself up into knots. I wish I could sit there and listen to Jesse compliment me all day. But time always goes by very fast when we're together, and with each compliment, I would probably age 5 years. Then I would die. At least I would die happy. Anyway, Jesse says, you're more than welcome to come to London whenever you want, but there's something I have to tell you first. Uh-oh. What? Well, Jesse says, there's no easy way for me to tell you this, but... Jesse pauses. I can invade on him on the other end of the line, his eyes closed, his expression thoughtful. What is he going to tell me? He hasn't been mugged, has he? What if he's been stabbed? Is that why he took such a long time to finally call me? Nope, he's dating someone. I knew he should have never gone to London. I knew London was a big, dangerous city. I knew he was going to get in trouble. I knew... I'm coming back to Cornwall over the Christmas holidays, Jesse suddenly announced. Ah, I say, but I don't really say because ah is not a word, it's just a syllable. It is a single syllable, stupid syllable because I don't know what else to say. I sit there staring into space, my eyes wide. Lil, why have you gone so quiet, Jesse asks. Are you still there? Hello, Lil. I continue to stare, my eyes wide open. I open my mouth. Then, oh, Jesse, I suddenly exclaimed far more loudly than I anticipated. But how can you blame me when I've been waiting for this moment for so very long? Jesse, I'm so happy. I've missed you. I really have missed you. And I've missed you too, Lil. Just this, and he's laughing like he hasn't just granted me my most earnest wish. That's why I wanted to come down and see you. You did? You missed me, I asked, and I'm pressing the phone so tightly against the side of my head, it'll probably leave a mark, but I don't even care. That's right, Jesse says. Of course I missed you. You're my sister. And you mean the world to me, and I want you to know, alright? But, my voice falls. I thought you were too busy having fun in London to talk to me. I am busy, but I don't know if finishing up essay counts as fun, Jesse says. I didn't mean to abandon you, Lil. Really, I didn't. I feel bad about it, and that's why I wanted you to be the first to know. And when will I see you, I ask him. When are you coming back? Around December 20th. I haven't booked my tickets yet, but you shouldn't have to wait too long, Jesse says. I like London and all, but it's so noisy, it'd be nice to escape it for a while, and Christmas is a holiday you're meant to spend with your family. Jesse, thank you, I say, and I'm so moved I can feel tears pickling in the corners of my eyes again. But this time it isn't from sadness. It is the exact opposite. This is the best Christmas present ever. Hey, don't be too hasty, Jesse says. I'm going to buy you a real present, and I'll bring it back with me. I'm sure you'll love it. I don't need any gifts. I only want to see you. What a sweet girl you are. I don't know what I did to be worthy of such a pure, kind-hearted sister. You're just like an angel, Jesse says, and he's still laughing. I'm laughing, too, from surprise and relief, and sheer gladness, but I'm also crying. It is a very strange combination of emotions that I've never experienced before. I must be making too much noise because I can hear footsteps in a low, gruff voice that I haven't heard for quite some time. What's going on? My dad says. I can feel his little eyes boring into my back, even though I can't see them. Why are you making such a racket? I can't hear the TV. Oh, Dad, I say, turning around. Is that Dad? Jesse says, his voice a little cracky from the static. Wonderful timing. Put him on, Liv. I want to tell him about my news, too. I'm a little sad about this because I wanted to talk to Jesse for as long as possible. But I've been talking to him for quite a while now, and Dad is Jesse's father, and I know he misses Jesse, too. Dad always liked Jesse more than he likes me. That is because Jesse is a child from his first wife, who he loves more than his current one. And Jesse is a good-looking, smart, and funny, where I am weird and useless. What is it, Lucille, Dad asked, he said, frowning. Who are you talking to? Talking to Jesse. Do you want to speak to him, too? He has something important to tell you. Jesse, Dad said, his eyes widened. Of course I want to talk to him. Jackie snatches the phone off me. With so much fuss, I'm worried he will shatter the plastic case of the fragment of Jesse's voice that rests inside. Jesse, Dad says, his voice demanding. Jesse, is that you? Did something happen? What is it? I watched Dad's face as Jesse relays the news to him. He changed expression so many times, it's tiring simple to look at him. I hope that Dad will hand me the phone when he's finished talking to Jesse, but he doesn't think of that. Dad never does. He puts the phone back in the cradle, cutting the connection with my brother, and then glares at me. Why are you still standing here? Don't you have homework to be doing? I go back to my room obediently without saying a word. Instead of my heart is pounding. So Jesse really is going to come back home for Christmas holidays. He'll be with us in less than a month. Then we'll be all reunited again. It will be a long wait, but I know I can endure it. I would do anything for my brother. Again, I don't like how she says that. Oh, that's great news, Ace says the next morning when I see her in form. You must be so excited. I don't know what to say other than I am, so I nod. Huh? You don't look very happy, Ace says, and she frowns. If it were me, I'd be over the moon. I am happy, I tell her. That's why I nodded my head. But you're not even smiling, Ace says. Do I have to smile, I ask? I would if I were in your shoes, Ace says. But you're not, I tell her. Fair enough, Ace says. I don't know why she wants to see me smile. Smiling won't make my brother come back home any faster. And I already did all my smiling yesterday. Is it hard for me to smile in school when I'm surrounded by girls like Asil, Phoebe, Lucy, and Megan? He won't be back till December, I tell A. This is almost a month away. I need to wait till then. There's no point getting worked up now. You might be right, A says. Still, this really is wonderful. It's wonderful for me, I tell her, but why is it wonderful for you? Jesse isn't your brother. Oh, well, you know how it is, A says vaguely. No, I don't. Well, you know, A says. She looks at the floor and blushes. You're not the only one who likes Jesse. You like him too much, I say. That's the only reason why you talk to me. Oh, no, A says, shaking her hands. That isn't true. I like you too, Lucille. But not as much as you like my brother, I say. That's different, A says. Her face turns pink again, but I don't really care. Bothers me when A fawns over my brother. But I know nothing will happen between the pair of them because she's only 14 and Jesse's 19, and that's against the law. It may be against the law, but most people don't care about the law. Just look at the Maury Povich show. I read about that online. Anyway, I can't imagine my brother would be interested in A, even if she is pretty and she smiles a lot. He has me. Most people don't like me, but Jesse does, and I have faith in him. I start to think about the fun things I would do with Jesse, and everything I want to tell him, and then I start smiling despite myself. And even though I'm in a busy classroom and it's quiet, noisy, and fun will start soon. There you go, Ace says. She pokes my cheek with her fingertip. What was that for, I ask. You're finally smiling. You hardly ever do it, Ace says. Because I don't feel like it, I say. I don't have much to smile about. Again, I feel like I'm looking at Starfire and Raven from Teen Titans. Well, I wish you'd do it more, whenever you have a reason or not. You look a lot cuter like that. My brother frowns and I say, I am not cute. I am plain and ugly. You're not ugly, but maybe you do look a bit pale when you're always frowning, Ace says. It's just a waste. A smile is a girl's best weapon. I look at Ace uncomprehending. I always have thought knives or axes would be more effective against weapons than smiles. Ace says a lot of silly things like that. It is probably because she isn't very smart. You didn't even smile in your school photograph, though the photographer pleaded with you, Ace says. I didn't feel like it, I say. I don't know him. I shouldn't have to smile for him. But Jesse is different, huh? Of course, he's my brother, and I love him. Geez, Ace says, and she shakes her head. It'd be nice if you smiled at me like that every once in a while. It'd make me feel more appreciated. I don't dislike you, I tell A Fairy, because I don't, but you're not the same as my brother. I know, I can never be what Jesse is to you, but I like to think we're friends. We're all friends, aren't we, I ask? On the Norman song it says I would tell A to think whatever she likes, but I feel more charitable today. If A wants me to smile, I suppose I can try, though I don't really see the point. We are friends, I say, making myself smile. I'm happy that I can talk to you about my brother, and I'm happy that you listen to me. You're a nice person. My, you must be in a good mood. You're never normally this sappy, A says, and she smiles. Come here. A moves forward, her arms outstretched, the pink fluffy earrings hanging from her ears trembling. I think she's going to give me a hug, and this makes me panic. I shriek back and say, I don't like hugs. They make me feel uncomfortable. Oh, I see, Ace says, and her face falls for a few moments. I can tell I've upset her and I almost start to feel guilty, but Ace found her soon replaced with a smile. People go through so many emotions on a daily basis, it's hard for me to keep up with them. I only feel this many emotions when I'm with Jessie, and that tires me out. Well, I can always give you this, A says. She murmurs around in her school bag and draws out a clear plastic bag with an ice finger inside, which is covered with pink icing. Why are you giving me this, I ask. It's a symbol of our friendship, A says. To be honest, out of the two, I'd probably be more like A, because that's how I was in high school. Bubbly, nice to everyone. Well, my Oilers are kicking ass right now. Nice. We had a 4-1 score. We're up 5-1 in the second inning. Yeah, yeah. We go hard all day, all night. I say, yeah. Yeah. It's a symbol of our friendship, A replies. No, it's not. It's an ice finger, I say. Well, whatever it is, you should eat it. I got it just for you since you ate that one I gave you yesterday, A says proudly. I figured you must like it, so here. I don't really like ice fingers. The pink icing is very bright and shiny. And it looks synthetic beneath the lights of the classroom. It sticks to my teeth with sugary sweets, and it makes me feel ill. That's alright, I start to say. I don't... But then I look at Ace's face. She is watching me hopefully, a tentative smile on her face. I already ruined her previous smile. I don't want to ruin this one, too. Thank you, I say instead, and I accept the ice finger with Fame. That was very kind of you. You don't need to thank me. This is just what friends do. Friends, I repeat, blinking like one of those old-fashioned dolls you find in a charity store. We are friends. I have known A for 2 years, but I never really considered her a friend before. Having fun sounds like too much hard work. People exhaust me and I don't understand them, and I often don't have the energy to try. Again, Starfire and Raven. But A's smile makes me think it might be worth the effort. Perhaps A was right about the smiles. They are good weapons. They are certainly very persuasive. If I smiled more, would people like me like they like A? If more people liked me, I would not be alone, even when Jessie is in London. I don't want Jessie to worry about me. So I smile. I smile at her and she smiles back at me. For some reason, smiling does not feel nearly as difficult as it used to be. Oh, she's finally got a good friend in A. Time passes incredibly slow after Jessie's telephone call. Each second lasts a minute, and each minute lasts an hour, and each hour lasts a day, and each day stretches out forever and ever into eternity. Of course, I know that seconds are not minutes, and minutes are not hours, and hours are not days, and I'm not sure if it's entirely exists because one day all of humanity will be wiped out when the sun explodes. I'm not stupid. Nah, it won't be the sun, it'll be zombies, but I'm in Gita for the dramatic effect. Miss Lambert says that it's called hyperbole, which is pronounced hyperbole, not hyperbole, though I don't know why. Which I do know we're getting some PS2 games, starting in June. We're getting Sly Cooper, which makes me happy. I can definitely tell you that's gonna be on the channel. Kind of hoping with that we get Resident Evil Outbreak File 1 and 2 in that list. And I know we got the Silent Hill thing tomorrow. We have the State of Play tomorrow from PlayStation. So there's going to be a busy day tomorrow. I'm probably going to be writing down the games I'm going to want to talk about tomorrow. English is confusing. A lot of things in this world are confusing, including my own feelings. My feelings are so crazy and out of control, it is hard for me to live my day-to-day life as though nothing has changed. It feels like I'm going mad. Well, if being normal means I can't love my brother anymore, then I don't think I want to be normal. When I see him again, I'm going to tell him how I feel about him. Oh, that's a bad idea. I'm going to let him know that I love him. I love him much, much more than he or anybody else could ever imagine. Yeah, that's probably going to get you locked up. Now, there's nothing wrong with saying you love your brother or your sister or your friends. But I have a feeling this love is more than that. She wants to, if any indication about some of these weird games I have on my channel, yeah, it's not going to go well. It is though that he keeps me going through the long, dull seconds that feels like minutes, and minutes that feel like hours, and hours that feel like days. November becomes December, and the Christmas holiday eventually arrives. The very last day of the school term concludes with Jessie's return home. I can hardly wait. I asked my mom in the morning if I can stay at home and wait for Jessie to come back. I wouldn't be able to pay attention at school, I tell her seriously, while hoping to clean up the plates from breakfast, so there isn't any point going. You just have to do your best to listen, Lucille, my mother says, running a dish rag around a bowl decorated with purple flowers. I'm not letting you bunk off school for no good reason. Are you saying Jessie isn't a good reason, I ask? No, he isn't, my mother says. The school won't accept that as an excuse. And neither will I. I'll only let you take time off if you're too sick to stand up. I do feel quite feverish, I say, seizing this newfound opportunity. My mother is too sharp, and I've never been the best at acting. I can't even pretend to be a normal human being, let alone a normal human being who is sick. Come on, get down with the sickness. You fuckers, come on, get down with the sickness. Which I'm sure somebody's like, Doug, do you care about the Fortnite songs? Because that's what Ashley and them message in the group. Hell no, 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 no. You're not sick, Lucille, my mother says fondly, and I'm not letting you waste your education for your brother's sake. I'm sure he wouldn't want that either. My mother doesn't call Jesse her son because he isn't. She calls him your brother when she's talking to me, or your son when she's talking to Dad, or you when she's talking to Jesse. I sometimes think my mother doesn't like Jesse very much, but I don't know why. Everybody likes Jesse. Going to school on the last day of term is a waste, I told her. We don't do any real work, we just watch movies. Are there educational movies, Mom asks? That depends on whether or not you think Shrek is educational. No. Can't even say the Shrek porno is educational. In year 7 and year 8, Mr. Curtis, our math teacher, let us watch Shrek on the last day of the school term. We have seen the first 60 minutes, or more like 55 minutes of the first Shrek movie twice already. And I'm fully expected to be treated with the first 60 minutes, but more like 55 again. I don't know much about Shrek, says my mother, still wiping the dish rag over the same bowl. But if your teachers want you to watch it, you should. I've seen the first 55 minutes twice already, I reply. Then you'll have to see it a third time, won't you? But what if Jesse comes back when you and Dad are at work and I'm at school? He won't have anybody to welcome him, I argue. He doesn't need anybody to welcome him. He's not a guest. This isn't a hotel. He's your father's son, and he used to live here, just like you do. But I start to say, but Mom cuts me off. Mom is a quiet person, and she would never ever dream of interrupting Dad. But she doesn't think twice about interrupting me. He has a key, she says. He can let himself into the house if he gets back when we're all away. Now stop fussing, Lucille. I can't help but fuss, I let her crossly. He is my brother. I know he is, and I'm glad you care about him so much. But I wish you show some of that kind of consideration to everybody else. Are you saying that I'm inconsiderate? I ask her, my face stony. Don't ask questions like that so early in the morning. Why are you bothering me so much? I'm not bothering you, so I was helping you. No, you're pestering me. Now run along, shoo. You need to get ready for school. I don't want to go to school, I say. Well, you have to. Don't take your education for granted. Be a little bit more appreciative. I am appreciative, say, so I wish you would be more appreciative of Jesse. Oh, it's always Jesse this and Jesse that with you, my mother says, and she goes, I'm getting tired of hearing about Jesse. Don't you love Jesse, I ask her? Again with the questions. My mother says, throwing her hands up in the air, I told you, Lucille, it is too early for this. You missed the school bus. I'll take that as a no then, I say, because although I am not the best at reading people, I understand that when people change the subject like that, it's usually because they feel guilty. That is something Miss Kay didn't need to teach me. I have lived in this house long enough to learn all about guilt and shame and sadness. Lucille, please, my mother says, and she sounds tired. Enough. I think she must really be tired too because she brushes a few strands of loose hair behind her ear with her damp, soapy fingers. Rather than her kneaded hair, she instead manages to smear it with a bright green washing up liquid. Oh, rats, my mother says, reaching for the kitchen door. Now look what you've made me do. I didn't make you do anything, I say truthfully. My mother did it on her own. It isn't my fault, but I'm used to being blamed for other people's mistakes. Dad would probably blame me more often if he spoke to me, but he doesn't, so Mom does it on his behalf. Mom and Dad might not get on very well, but they can always bond over picking on me. Look, Lucille, I'm in a bad enough mood as it is. Don't try my patience, please. Now hurry up and get your things packed for school. I know arguing with her is a waste of time, so I decided to leave the kitchen. It is what my history teacher, Mr. B, would call a tactical retreat. All right, I tell her, I'll get ready. Good, you do that, and can't you do something about your hair, my mother asked. What's wrong with my hair? You look like you've been dragged through a hedge backwards. My mom likes that saying, though. I don't know why. I've never really been dragged through a hedge before, let alone backwards. That sounds painful. I should be doing the dragging anyway. Maybe my mother would like to drag me through a hedge sometimes, but I don't think she's strong enough. I think my hair is fine, I tell her. At least I didn't get washing up liquid in it, unlike you. Then I gather up my school bag, though I won't need it because whenever we do any work on the last day of the term, I leave the house. It takes me 5 minutes to get to the bus stop. The whole while I can't stop thinking about Jesse. I wish I could have stayed home from school so I could welcome him back. Seeing Jesse's face is much Much more important than watching the first 55 minutes of Shrek for the third time. I'm sure Ashley and Matt and Rosie would probably disagree. Somebody what? Blah. The only thing I know about Shrek is he's in a cart race, so I have in a few games. Remember, I didn't grow up watching kids' films. I was more into horror films, even as a child. Give me those horror films. Bram Stoker's Dracula, Frankenstein, The Wolfman. I spent the day at school in the state of restless precipitation, wondering whether my brother has arrived already back home. Sprite. It's good for you. Particularly when you have a sore throat. Is he getting off the train in St. Elf Station while I'm looking out of the window in the math class? Is he on the bus routing its way towards Zennor while I'm kicking at my lunch and trying to ward off A's curious questions? Is he walking up to the front door of our house, the keys jingling in his pocket, when the final bell that marks the end of the school day rings? Is he waiting for me? When I get back home, tired from a day of school and ready for the holidays, will he greet me with a bright smile and say, "Hey, Lil," and a great big hug? It's been such a long, long time since Jesse hugged me. The journey back home on the old, smelly bus was painful. I have to do the same silly comments and rude names that I always do. But that isn't the most uncomfortable part. I'm worried that Jesse might have arrived home already and he'll be waiting for me. And every second that passes, it wastes time we could be spending together. Jesse said he wants to go back to London after New Year's Day. He'll only stay for 12 days. It's even less than 2 weeks. I need to make the most of it. I grab my bag and particularly sprint for the door when the bus arrives in Zennor. I can't wait to get off that hateful vehicle that smells of cheesy, diley drunkers. I can say that with confidence because I saw Megan eating some. The bus driver shouts after me as I run, something about being more careful, but I don't listen to him. How can I be careful when soon, any second now, the moment I open the front door and step inside my house, I might see my brother? I jump off the bus, my bag bumping against my side, and run all the way home. My home is not very far from the bus stop. Most things are not so far in Zennor because it's a very small village with only 200 people live. I don't like how the music's changed. I have a feeling we're getting bad news. With Jesse's return, that number would be 201. It took me 5 minutes to walk home to the bus stop this morning when I was dragging my feet. But it only takes me only 2 to run back in the afternoon. I struggle with the front door key. I'm so excited my fingers are trembling, and I can barely insist it into the lock. I don't bother to take my shoes off at the front door, though my mother's always sighing and telling me not to scuffle up the hall with my dirty shoes. It doesn't matter. All that matters is... Oh, there's Jesse. Jesse, my school bag is slung over my shoulder, but the moment I see him standing there as though he's never left, I dash towards my arms outstretched. My school bag slips off my shoulder and lands on the wooden floor with a thud. That would probably make my mother wince if she was here. But she is not. Even if she was, I wouldn't care less because I'm so very, very happy. Jesse has finally come back. We were separated for a long time, but now I can see his face again and hear his voice and feel his arms around me. Jesse, I exclaim because it is Jesse. He has come back. I've missed him so very, very much. Oh, Jesse. Lily, Jesse says. He laughs and throws his arms open, catching me as I fling myself against him. He staggers backwards when I collide with him, but he doesn't fall. Jesse is strong and reliable like a tree trunk, though he does grin and say, Jesse, Jesus, Liv, if you hug me any harder, I'm going to exasperate. I'm sorry, I said I buried my head against his shirt, but I am not sorry. How can I be sorry when for the first time in so very, very long, I finally feel happy? My whole body is light and free, like a bird's about to take flight. It might sound like a paradox because my brother's arms are wrapped around me, and it would be impossible to fly like this, but I really, truly feel at my lightest when we are together. Jesse, I snuffle, rubbing my head against his chest, I really missed you. And I missed you too, Squirt, Jesse says, running a hand through my hair. Did you really ask? Pardon me, because he is afraid he is lying to spare my feelings. He did say on the phone he was having fun in London. What if he would prefer to be in the big city instead of here in this quiet corner of England, where people talk in a slow, drawn-out manner, and you are never far from the sound of the waves against the shore? People used to believe that mermaids lived off the coast of Zennor. I bet nobody even believed in mermaids in London. Zennor is stuck in the past, and London seems to exist at least 200 years in the future. I would not blame Jesse if he would prefer to be lost in the hustle and bustle of the capital of the country surrounded by places to go and sights to see, but of course I missed you, Liv, Jessie says, kissing my forehead. I missed you a lot. Jessie, I say, my face turning red. I want to cling to him forever and ever. In fact, I care about you so much I wanted you to be the first person to know, Jessie says. Know what? I ask him. What are you talking about? I didn't come back here alone, Jessie says, and he grins. There's somebody I want you to meet. Uh-oh. Meet? I repeat stupidly like a parrot. Jessie draws away from me, removing his arms from around my waist. Suddenly I feel cold and alone. Are you not alone? I asked Jessie, hoping that this is nothing more than a misunderstanding. I thought you came back because you wanted to see me. I do want to see you, Liv, and Dad and Mom too, Jessie says. Unlike my mother, who never calls Jessie her son, Jessie has no problems with Jessie does it because he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. Jessie is very considerate of other people's feelings. He would never want to hurt anybody, not even a mean, nasty girl like Megan. That is why I always believed, but I'm not the only person who wanted to see you. There's somebody else who's been desperate to meet my family too, ever since I told her about them. Jessie says, Come on, Skylar, say hello. Skylar? I say, who was that? I never heard of anybody called Skylar before. I thought A was a silly name, but Skylar sounds even sillier. Oh, well, yep, Jessie's dating somebody. You're screwed. I'm Scar, says an unfamiliar voice which belongs to an unfamiliar woman. It's very nice to meet you, Lucille. Jessie has told me a lot about you. Skylar is tall and pretty, and she has long red hair, and she's wearing black. I don't know much about clothes, but she looks cool. She doesn't belong in my small, snowy home in Zennor. She does not belong in my life. What is she doing here? Well, Jessie says, glaring at me, aren't you going to say hello? I don't have to say anything. I'm too busy staring at Skylar. Maybe she's shy, Jessie says. I'm sorry about this, Skylar. Lily is a nice girl, really. I'm sure she is, says Skylar. She's your little sister. Nobody related to you could be bad, I'm sure. Haha, you're always flattering me, Jessie says, and he laughs. Well, of course. Isn't that why you like me so much? Skylar says, grinning. I like you for lots of reasons. It's hard to pick just one. Jessie and Skylar are both looking at one another, and they're laughing and laughing like they have known one another for their whole lives. Like they are best friends. Like they are in love. The longer I stare at Skylar, the more I dislike her. She's not just pretty like A. She's not even sexy like Megan. She looks like she stepped straight from the pages of a fashion magazine, with her smoky eyes and her pale skin and her red lips, which must have been drawn on with lipstick. I've never seen anybody like her before. She is so beautiful that looking at her makes me feel sick. What is going on? I asked sternly, my voice cutting through Skylar's laughter. Who are you and who invited you here? Didn't Jessie tell you? Skylar asked, raising her neatly plucked eyebrows into little arches. I wanted it to be a surprise, Jessie said, like an early Christmas present, you know. I thought for sure it would make my family happy. I don't know if I'm special enough to count as a Christmas present, but... Skylar smiles and says, My name is Skylar, and I'm Jessie's girlfriend. It's nice to meet you, Lucy. I hope we can get on. I say, but I'm not really saying anything. Is not a real word. It's more like a sudden, sharp exhalation of air you might hear if you plunge a sharp knife into an inflatable ball. It feels like a sharp knife has been plunged into me. Skylar's words replay in my head over and over again like a scratched DVD. My name is Skylar, and I'm Jessie's girlfriend. I am Jessie's girlfriend. Lucille, Jessie says, his brow furrowed. Are you alright? You're being awfully quiet. Don't you want to say something to Skylar? The only thing I want to say is Skylar is goodbye, which would be followed by roughly 0.2 seconds later by slamming the door in her face. Why should I talk to her? I hate her. I wish she was dead. Well, I'm sure she's just surprised, Skylar says in a so very reasonable voice, resting a hand on Jessie's shoulder. This must have been quite a shock. Maybe you should have told her about us. I stare at Skylar's hand, which is still laying on my brother's shoulder. It's still tipped with long nails that are painted just as red as her lips. She is touching him. She is tainting him. She is going to take him away from me, and I don't know what I can do to stop her. Nothing really. And that's how much time we got left. Let's keep going, but we're going to make a quick save here just to be safe. Let's see, how many trophies have we got left, by the way? Alright, we've got 5 of the trophies so far. So Dad says when we're all sitting around the dinner table that evening, you're Jesse's girlfriend. That's right. Skylar says I'm Jesse's girlfriend. These matter-of-fact words gut me. The longer I sit at the dinner table trying to look at my heart is not breaking, the more I'm afraid I'm going to fall forwards into my mashed potatoes and pork chops. Lucia, my mother hisses, giving me a sharp glare. Eat your food, please. You're 13 years old, not 30. You shouldn't be picking at it like that. But I can't eat. How can I eat when I feel so awful? So how did you and Jesse meet, my dad asked Skylar. Dad has been unusually talkative during his meal. He rarely has any words to spare for me and my mother. But now Skylar is here with her bright red hair and her red lips and her pale skin. He can't stop talking. I think he has exchanged more words with Skylar during this single meal than he has with me over the last 6 months. We met at university. Just she's on my history course. We happened to sit together during one lecture, and I see, so it was love at first sight, was it? Well, I wouldn't go that far, JC says. I mean, this isn't a fairy tale or anything. You mean you didn't fall for me the moment you met me, Skylar says. Well, I did think you were pretty, Jesse says, but I'm not so sour I judge girls solely on their looks. There's a lot more to you than that. Silas calls Jessie a charmer while I sit there silently hating her. I wish I could slit Skelly's throat, gorge out her eyes, and peel off her skin. Good Lord! She might be pretty, beautiful even, but deep down inside she won't look that different to me or my mother or anybody else. Everybody's the same without their skin. You raise a good point, Jesse, Dad says. Looks how important, yes, but it's what on the inside that really counts. Your mother wasn't the best looker in the land, but she was such a kind, funny woman. She never failed to make me smile. Mom was a great person, Jesse says. I do miss her. It's a shame Sky couldn't have met her. Yes, it is such a shame, my mother says in a way that suggests she doesn't think it's a shame at all. I'm sorry you're stuck with me instead. Oh, no, Jesse hurries to I didn't mean it like that. I just meant... It's all right, I know what you meant. My mother saws into her pork chop with such viciousness the knife scuffs against the plate. The sound makes me shudder, but nobody else seems to care. Dad is looking at Skylar through for his pork chops almost untouched. Pork chops are one of my father's favorite dishes. My mom cooks it just the way he likes it, with mustard and onion gravy, but he never compliments her, no matter how hard she works. My mother can't make Dad smile. She can't do anything that Jesse's mother did. Let me give you some advice, Dad says seriously. If you want to stay together, it's important to have a sense of humor. Being stuck in a relationship without any laughter is like a death sentence. Mom's face turns pale. Her skin is so white it almost looks like a skull. Oh, God. So I have a feeling how this is going to end. The brother's going to... brings the girlfriend. The mom ends up probably killing the dad. Mom goes to jail, and then the sister has to move in with Jesse and Skylar. Maybe Jesse can see how uncomfortable Mom is because he gently says, Don't be like that, Dad. It's a bit too early for Skylar and me to worry about the future. We're only 19. I was only 23 when I met your mother, Dad says, but I knew from the beginning that she was the one for me. You can always tell these things when you meet the right person. Well, I do like Skylar, Jesse says. I wouldn't have brought her here, but I'm too young to think about marriage. You might have a point, Dad says, though things are different nowadays. You students want to enjoy your youth a little bit before getting tied down. I understand. Thank goodness, Jesse says. No more pestering me about babies. You'll scare Skylar away. Oh no, Skylar says. I couldn't be scared away now. I like you too much. Haha, I'm sorry I come from such a strange family, Jesse says. Dad's so old-fashioned. This time Mom isn't the only one who winces. I do too. When he says strange family, is he including me in that statement too? My fingers slack around my fork. I drop it on the table. My fork is covered with Dad's favorite mustard and onion gravy. And bits of mustard and onion gravy get over the table and on my lap. My mother turns. Lucia, she says crossly, can you try to be more careful? I don't say anything. My eyes are still focused on Dad, Jesse, and Skylar. Well, I'm very pleased to meet you, Skylar, Dad says. Sorry if I'm being too intense. I don't want to scare you. I'm just curious. This is the first time Jesse's ever brought a girl back home. And I hope I'll be the only girl he brings back home, Skylar says, nudging Jesse in the side with her ribs. In his ribs. Hot, Dad says, and he laughs. She knows what she wants, all right. She seems like a real keeper, Jesse. I know. I'm very lucky, Jesse says. He looks at Skylar happily in the same way he used to look at me, only even more adoring and pressing a kiss against her cheek. Skylar giggles and says, not at the dinner table, but she doesn't try to push Jesse away. Mom looks at them coldly. I'm glad you two get along so well, she says, but Skylar's right. The dinner table isn't the right place for displays of affection. Be that as it may, my mother says they should eat before the food gets cold. I spent a good while working on this, and it didn't help that Jessie invited Skylar without me telling me. I need to drive to the supermarket this evening to stock up on food. I'm sorry, Skylar says. I don't want to inconvenience you. I told Jessie she'd let you know I was coming, but... Nonsense, Dad says. Minnie was a lovely surprise. I could do with more of them. There's a nice distraction from the daily grind. You might like surprises, Mom says tautly, but you're not the one who has to do the cooking. Oh, can't you stop complaining, Heather? Jessie brought his girlfriend over to meet us. You should try to be a bit happier for him. I am happy, my mother says. I'm thrilled that Jessie found such a nice girl, but he could have been a bit more considerate. You're the one being inconsiderate, Dad says, sitting there with a face like a wet weekend, lining up. Why don't you before you... Uh-oh. I'm not trying to ruin anything. I'm just being practical. Dad ignores Mom. He does that a lot. So, where did you come from, Skylar? He asks. I was born in West Corridor in London, Skylar tells him. A Londoner? Hey, I thought so, judging by your accent. So you're a city girl. Cornwall must really seem painfully dull by comparison. Oh, not at all. My parents took me on holiday to Cornwall a lot when I was younger, and I always thought it was a beautiful place. It might be a beautiful place to visit once in a while, Dad says, but when you have to live here, the solitude starts to nag at you. You always complain about Zennor, Dad, Jessie says, but if you really hated it, you would have moved out years ago. For what it's worth, I do have an attachment to this old place. Chega was very fond of it. She's the one who picked out this house, and she did most of the decorating. I can't remember the last time Dad talked about Jessie's mom. I can barely remember last time Dad talked, full stop, but something about our newest guest has drawn all these reminiscences from him in a torrent. We moved here after we got married, Dad tells Skylar. We both got jobs in St. Elves, and Tegan's mother, Fallon, her name was, used to look after Jess when he was a baby. Fallon died when Jess was only 4, though, and then the following year, Dad shakes his head. Well, it was a while ago now, Dad says, but his eyes are misty and his voice sounds pained, and it's obvious. Even if it did happen a while ago, it does not feel like a while ago for Dad. Oh, I'm sorry for prying, Skylar says sadly. You don't need to apologize, Dad says. Sometimes it helps to get things off my chest. I don't get a chance to talk about Tiga very often. I'm glad you've taken an interest. Dad smiles at Skylar like a real father should, which makes my chest hurt. I can't remember the last time he smiled at me. Does not seem fair. Dad knows Skylar for 1 hour, but he has known me for 13, almost 14 years. How little did those years mean to my father? How little do I mean to him? What is it about Skylar that he's able to make even my father, the most dull and sour and grumpy man in all of Zennor, smile? Maybe it's because of her looks? Skylar is beautiful, and I think she knows she's beautiful because she smiles with her red lips and runs her head through her red hair and flutters her black eyelashes so even my father can't help but love her. My mother doesn't seem to love her, though, and I don't love her either. I think I hate her. The more time I spend with her, the more I hate her, until I can hardly stand to look at her. So Lucia, Sky says, now turning her attention to me, Jessie says you're 13. Does that mean you're in secondary school? I clamp my lips together and clam up. My father might have fallen victim to Skylar's charms, but I won't. Lucia, Dad says sharply, Skylar's asking you a question. Can't you answer her? You have a tongue in your head, don't you? I don't say anything. Instead, I look at my plate, at the creamy mashed potatoes and the green beans and the pork chops covered in mustard and onion gravy. Mother spent a long time preparing this meal. She was stressed and upset because she didn't know Skylar was coming. She hadn't prepared enough pork chops. She gave Skylar one of her chops and a dollop of her mash and a lot of sauce and peas, but nobody seemed to appreciate it. That's just how life is. Lucia, Dad said. He brings his fist to the table so hard it shakes. For God's sake, girl, say something. Skylar will think you're a simpleton. Oh, no, Sky says Jim. I don't think that. She must be shy, that's all. Lucia's always been rather quiet, Jessie says. That's because you used to talk for her, Dad says. It's time she starts speaking for herself. Lucia's only 13, Dad. She has enough time to learn. I hope I haven't made her uncomfortable, Sky says. I was trying to be friendly. Don't worry, I'm sure Lily will warm up to you in time, Jessie says. I do hope so. I want to get along with all your family, Skylar says, and she sighs. Don't you worry about all this, your Dad tells Skylar, laughing. She's always been a bit funny. Oh, quiet and gloomy and lacking in gumption. She's nothing like her brother. Well, the world would be boring if we were all the same, Skylar says. Ha, that's a nice way of looking at it, Dad says. Maybe I should do the same. The half seems like a punch to my stomach. It hurts. I stir my mashed potatoes and peas and pork chops until my eyes start to water. The smell of mustard and onion gravy stops up my nostrils. It's a very rich and heavy aroma that makes me feel faint. My mother made all this delicious food, but nobody cares because Skylar is here now, and everything pales in contrast to her red hair and red lips. She has cast my dad and my brother under her spell. She is an evil witch, and I hate her. I hate her, and I wish she was dead. Maybe then I wouldn't feel so awful. But damn. I retreat to my bedroom after that awkward and uncomfortable dinner, my stomach still empty, my heart even emptier. Jessie meant the world to me, and now Skylar has taken him. She has taken my word, and she has smeared her fingerprints all over it, so I want to be able to enjoy it even if she gave it back. Everything has been ruined. I lie in my bed, staring at my ceiling, my eyes glazed. It's dark outside, and the sky is filled with stars, but I don't feel sleepy. I want to be with Jessie, but that is impossible. Jessie will play music on his guitar for Skylar now and tell her stories, and they will watch old horror movies together. Skylar will pick salty kernels of popcorn from a bowl held on Jessie's lap, and he will run his hands through her hair. She will squirm and pretend to be scared when a woman gets murdered on the TV and hide her head against his shoulder. She will cut up to him, and he will let her because she is his girlfriend. I am only his sister. Jessie once told me I was the only girl for him. He lied. How could you lie to me? Ah, I say softly because my mobile phone, which is in my school bag, which I threw on my bedroom floor, is beeping. Somebody is calling me. Who could it be? I take my phone out of the bag and look at the name on the screen. It's A. I don't feel like talking to her very much right now, but I don't want to be alone either. I answer the call and press the phone in my ear. I know that I'm sad, though I shouldn't be cruel to her. Mrs. K is always telling me to be nice to the A. I'm not so good, I tell A after a long pause. I feel sad. Sad? Why are you sad? A says. I thought you would be happy. Your brother did come back today, didn't he? Yes, he did, I say. Then why are you sad? You didn't have an argument, did you? No, I never had an argument with Jessie. I thought not. Jessie seems so easygoing. I can't imagine him arguing with anybody. He's not like you, Lucille. What do you mean by that? I ask, and I think my voice must be sharper than usual because A sounds surprised when she replies. I didn't mean anything bad by it. I just meant you have more of a temper than your brother. I still remember what you did to Megan in math class last year. Oh, I say, is that all that you meant? What else would I mean? A asks innocently. I don't feel like explaining myself to A. I don't think she would understand. A has never suffered in her life. People don't insult her or call her names, or throw chewing gum wrappers at her on the bus. It never used to bother me because I told myself, even if everybody else hated me, Jessie loved me and that was enough. That has changed now, though. Jessie does not love me. He loves his girlfriend, and I'm not with Jessie, but she is. And it seems so unfair when I have waited so long to be with him again that it makes me want to scream. Lucille, he says. Lucille, are you still there? Yes, I'm still here. You don't sound like your usual self, A says. What does my usual self sound like? I ask A because it's hard for me to think about myself when my head is so crammed full of thoughts about Jessie. Maybe I think as I lie back down in my bed, my brain will leak out of my ears in my sleep and I will die. I'd rather die than watch Jessie laugh and smile and flirt with Skylar. It would be less painful. It's hard to say. You usually sound so, I don't know, cool, I guess. I'm not cool, I say flattery. Megan says I'm stupid. Megan's a bully. You should just ignore her, A says. I think you're cool. You see, you never let anybody bother you. If I let people bother me, I'd probably stab them. And then I would get into trouble, I say. You're so funny, A says, and she laughs as though I've just told a joke. I don't understand why, but I was being deadly serious. But you really don't sound like your usual self today. Maybe this sounds insensitive, but you weren't crying, were you? I wasn't crying. I'm not going to cry either, I say sharply, because I can't stand the thought of shedding tears. Crying is a messy and embarrassing process, and something I only do when I'm sure I'm alone and nobody else will see me. Well, alright, I'm still worried though, he says. You sound so defeated. I feel sick, I tell A, and this is entirely a lie. I do feel a bit sick. I should never try to eat that pork chop, even if it was for a noble cause. I wanted to make my mother happy. It didn't work. So if you and Jesse didn't have an argument, what did happen, A asks? Weren't you looking forward to seeing him? I was looking forward to it, I say, but what? What happened? He didn't come back home alone, I say after a very long pause. There was somebody else with him, too. A friend from university. That's what I say, female friend. A very pretty female friend with Very red hair and red lips with smoking black eyes. Ah, he says, I see. I didn't know Jessie had a girlfriend. I wince. A's matter of fact, the way of talking makes the situation even feel realer than ever before. I can't deny it, not even to myself. Skylar is his girlfriend. This is the world I live in now. This is my reality. This is... what a shame, Ace says. And she says, I was hoping Jessie might confess to me one day. Don't be stupid, I say flatly, though my mind feels like it's collapsing and my world is falling apart around me. Jessie would never look twice at you. You're too young for him. But A's 5 months older than I am. A's prettier than me, too. She came to my house for a sleepover this summer before Jessie went to university, and she made him laugh. She had more of a chance with him than I do. Because you're the half-sister, you shouldn't be wanting to I feel like this is Jerry Springer episode. I may have to read the book that this is based on, or the poem. I can see now that I was just deluding myself. I never had a chance. Well, I guess I knew that, Ace says, laughing. I was never really serious about it. How could you flirt with my brother if you weren't being serious? I asked her. Why weren't you serious? Part of me used to hate A because she had a crush on Jessie. But now Jessie has a girlfriend, I feel angry that her feelings for him weren't as strong as I imagined. How can anybody not love my brother? Well, I was a little serious, A says. But I know you're right. I never really had a chance. I just wanted to have a bit of fun. Aren't you sad that Jessie has a girlfriend? I asked. You wanted to be his girlfriend. A little. But I knew this was going to happen. I should have expected as much. How did you know he'd get a girlfriend? I asked. He hasn't had a girlfriend before. I thought he would never. He went to university in London. London's way, way bigger than St. Elves. It'd be weirder if your brother didn't end up with a girlfriend or two, A says. Two? I asked. Just having one girlfriend is painful enough, without him having two of them. Why would he need two? Oh, I don't think he really had two girlfriends. It was a figure of speech. Maybe you should choose your words more carefully, I tell her. Sorry, A. I wasn't implying Jessie would cheat on his girlfriend. He's way too nice for that. Worse luck. The more I talk to A, the more I feel my stomach sinking. A knows a lot more about romance than I do. She loves romantic movies like The Notebook, which I thought was stupid, and The Fault in Our Stars, which I thought was boring. She wasn't like Jessie, who doesn't like romance films. He always rolls his eyes when adverts for movies come out on the TV. He used to stick his fingers in his throat and pretend to be sick, which annoyed my mom. I didn't think he was interested in romance. I was wrong. If A thinks Jessie will stay with Skylar, she's probably right. She doesn't even know how pretty Skylar is. I thought talking to A might reassure me, but it's done the opposite. Now I feel even worse. What is Jessie's girlfriend called? A asks. Skylar, I say. That's a pretty name, A says. She's a pretty girl, beautiful, I say. She has the reddest hair I've ever seen, like strawberries and even smooth skin. She sounds perfectly disgusting, A says. She isn't disgusting, I tell A. That's the worst thing. Even if Dad seems to like her, and Dad doesn't like anybody. Is this the first time you heard of Skylar? A asks. It is, I say, and I nod my head even though A can't see me. Jessie never mentioned her before. He never even said she was going to come here. She just showed up on our doorstep, and Jessie expected us to accept her as a member of our family. Whoa, I don't want to badmouth your brother, but that sounds kind of thoughtless. It was thoughtless. I was looking forward to seeing Jessie again. But then he had to bring this woman with him, a complete stranger. Don't you like her, Lucille? A asks. No, I hate her. But your father likes her, A says. He does, I say, and Jessie loves her, and that's why I hate her. Everybody ignored me at the dinner. Everything was about Skylar. Masha. My voice shrirs off. I stare at the ceiling, my hair spread across my pillow, and sigh. Skylar's a stupid name anyway. It's even stupider than my name. What about mine, A says. Is it stupider than mine? I often thought A's name was a silly name, but I think Skylar takes the cake, but not literally. We don't often have cake in this house. Cakes are for celebrations, and we rarely have anything to celebrate. The cake I had for my 13th birthday was bought from the supermarket. Skylar is much, much stupider than A. It's terrible. Well, maybe you'll be able to get along with her, even if she does have a silly name, A asks. I don't want to get on with her. I want her to go away. You might want that, but it doesn't look likely. If Jessie's already introducing her to you guys, he really must love her. The word love cuts right through me. I thought I was the only girl Jessie loved, me and his mother, Tegan, but she doesn't count because she's dead, so I was never jealous of her in any way. It's normal to love your mother. That must be why I don't love my mother. It's because I'm not normal. Is that why Jessie doesn't love me? Hey, A says, I'm kind of curious. I want to know what the Skylar woman looks like. I already told you what she looks like, I say. I know that, but I want to see her with my own eyes. Size up the person who stole away the guy I'm curious. What kind of woman could steal Jesse's heart? She isn't a woman, she's a witch. She cast a spell on my father and my brother, and now they can't escape from her. A witch, A says. Does she wear lots of black clothes or crystals? Does she have tattoos? Does she talk about palm reading? She does wear black clothes, but I didn't see any crystals. If she's a witch, I want to meet her even more, Ace says. Please, Cecile, let me come over. Please, please, please. Ace's child is begging is cut off by the sound of knuckles rapping against my bedroom door. There's somebody here to see me. Lewis is a familiar voice which I'd be able to pick out from a crowded room filled with hundreds upon hundreds of people. Leo, are you in there? It's Jesse. Hey, say, you still there? He says. I'm still here, but I have to go now. Jesse wants to talk to me. Ah, do you have to go? That's right. Well, then, tell him I said hello. I'll try, I tell her, because A is the last thing on my mind now that my brother is here and he comes to see me and he's rapping on my door asking to be let in. And maybe he wants to ask for my forgiveness. Goodbye, A. Goodbye, Lucia, A says. I take the phone away from my ear and I end the call with a push of a button. Then I sit up in my bed and run my fingers through my short hair, trying to make it look a bit less messy and a bit more presentable. I know how my looks are nothing compared to Skylar's. She's tall and pale and beautiful, with red hair and red lips. I'm short, dark, and lumpy, and my nose is too big, and my smile, when I do smile, look lopsided and unconvincing. I am not pretty. There's no point worrying about my hair because it would never look as smooth or sleek as the girls in magazines. I fuss over my appearance all the same, however, because I care what I look like when Jessie is around. That is the one thing I will say, problem with our society, and me getting on a soapbox real quick. I hate how Hollywood and magazines, and even back in high school, that it was made to judge women based on their looks. I have never cared about women's looks in my life. I feel personally you need to judge them for the human being they are, their soul, because you could be a top 10 woman, have the best tits and the best ass in the country, but if you're soulless and you don't have feelings and you're an asshole, your looks don't matter. That's why, and I'm honest. I look like a zombie. I know I'm not the best looking thing on the planet. I weigh 198 pounds. Got a little bit of a gut. I got a build. I got a build that makes people think I'm a part of the Wyatt family. But I feel like we need to just stop basing everything on looks and look at the person inside. Their soul. Adrenaline in my soul. I might not think I am pretty, but I want him to think I am pretty. That is because even after he has betrayed me and broken my heart, I still love him. I love him so, so much, and I want to believe that I still have a chance to claim his heart back. You can come in, I say, trying to keep the tremble from my voice, but it doesn't quite work. My words sound weak and hesitant, and I'm trembling. Why am I trembling? Oh, thank goodness, Jessie says. I was worried I might have upset you. My bedroom door clicks, and then the door opens onwards with a creak, and there he is. Jesse looks at me, tall, dark, and handsome as ever. His eyes half-hooded and framed with his very long eyelashes. You want me to close the door, Jesse asks in his soft voice because he is kind and considerate that way. I nod. Your wish is my command, he says. He slides the door shut with a click. Now it's just the two of us alone in my room, Jesse and me. A half-brother with his half-sister. Can I sit down, he asks. I nod. Jesse sits down by my side. The mattress sinks beneath his weight. I shriek beneath the weight of his gaze. Why is he looking at me like that? There was a small silence, and Jesse starts to talk. Why didn't you come and sit in the living room with the rest of us after dinner, he asked. I didn't think I was invited, I replied. Don't be silly, of course you're invited, your family. Dad asked Mom and me to clean the table and wash the dishes. He might have said that, but that didn't mean you couldn't come sit with us after you were finished. I didn't think I was welcome, I said, and I didn't feel like it. But weren't you looking forward to seeing me? I thought you missed me, Jesse says. I did miss you, I say, drawing my knees beneath my chin and winding my arms around them. I missed you so much. Then why aren't you spending any time with me, you silly girl? Everyone was so focused on Skylar at the dinner table, I barely got any time to talk to you, Jesse says. And whose fault is that, I say quietly. What was that, Jesse asks? Oh, nothing, I say, biting my lower lip. All of a sudden I feel horribly guilty. It's a strange sensation. I really feel guilty. I'll be back. Ugh.
2-ish, looks like.
Alright, we're actually going to save because stepdad is hungry, so we're going to save here. And when we come back, we'll continue with this. Till then, have a good night, and I'll see you all next time.